In this video, I'm going to be talking about truth. About what I think truth is, and about how I think the world works as far as truth is concerned. Now, in my opinion, there are basically three kinds of truth. There is subjective truth, objective truth, and absolute truth. Now, some philosophers would disagree with me on the third type of truth, and some would even disagree on the second, but I feel that all three exist. By absolute truth, I mean that there is some underlying truth in the universe. There are certain things which, if you deny, you're simply denying reality itself. There are certain things that are absolutely true. Now, whether or not we can know any of these absolute truths is a question of epistemology, not of metaphysics, and I'm talking about a metaphysical question right now, or at least a metaphysical subject. So, by absolute truth, I mean that there's some underlying truth to reality that exists completely independent of our observation of it. Now, by objective truth, I of course refer partially to the truth that we can gain from empiricism, and I also refer to any sort of truth that you would find in mathematics. Objective truth is closely related to absolute truth, but they're not necessarily the same because it's possible that our current scientific theories are wrong. I don't believe that they're absolutely wrong, but I certainly believe, as do most scientists, that there are inaccuracies in our laws. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't still be searching for more information if we thought our laws were absolutely perfect as they are. Now, objective truth simply refers to things that are true regardless of the observer. So, anybody who is scientifically minded and reads our scientific theories will find science true, or will find what scientists say to be true regardless of their cultural background, unless they are in fact a religious fanatic or something of that sort of character. They will agree. Mathematics is sort of the ultimate example of objective truth, and the ultimate example of objective truth that need not necessarily have any basis in absolute truth. It is things that are taken, certain axioms and postulates are taken a priori, and based on those axioms and postulates, purely through deductive logic, we can derive theorems and corollaries to those theorems and other interesting things like that. It's the ultimate objective thing because there is absolute proof in it, and there is no uncertainty as to whether or not a given theorem has been proven, but it need not necessarily have any basis in reality. A lot of modern mathematics is based, like modern algebra and set theory, are based on trying to unify the various portions of mathematics, but are not necessarily based on anything that's important in reality, especially certain concepts of cardinality, of countable and uncountably infinite sets. There's certainly probably not any infinity in reality. The third and final type of truth is subjective truth. Now, I call myself a truth seeker. I'm primarily interested in absolute truth, and because the closest thing we seem to be able to get to absolute truth is objective truth. I'm mostly concerned with objective truth. But I also have a concern for subjective truth. If I were to say, and this is true, green is my favorite color, that would be a subjective truth because it is true to me. Subjective truth the phrase says it all. Subjective. That means having to do with the subject rather than having to do with the object. Now, I believe subjective truth is important. I'm somewhat of a musician, and I do like to listen to music. I watch some movies and things like that, and all that sort of thing. The arts, I of course feel, are important for expressing yourself, and if you're a good enough artist, you can achieve a sort of immortality. Um, but those are subjective truths. Who's the best artist? Why is this music beautiful? Why is this particular line of this particular poem uh, the most beautiful? Why does it speak directly to you? These things depend on the individual you're talking to, and that doesn't mean that they're any less important, but they're important solely to humanity. Um, the one thing I would say kind of throws a monkey wrench into this is ethics. I would say that ethics and morality are sort of a hybridization of both objective and subjective truth. Because a lot of our modern morality um, is based on our scientific understanding of the world, but at the same time, it's based on what most evolutionary biologists say is an inborn drive to morality, which would, of course, make sense. Um, because that would have been an evolutionary advantage in the ability to cooperate and form complex social groups, which is obviously a useful thing to survive in an unfriendly world such as nature. But in general, that's my worldview on truth. I know some people, especially people of a postmodernist worldview, would disagree with me, but, well, that's my worldview, and if you have any comments on it or think anything I said is wrong or think anything I said is interesting, well, then please comment.